Low, 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 low. Them baggy sweatpants and the Reeboks with the strap. Running game, that big booty is flat.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I can't ever unsee it. You want to know what's crazy?
I mean, how can you not get?
You know, who need a song? You don't want anyone to write us a theme song.
No.
You want to know what's
we don't need a theme song.
We'll just keep using other people's copyrighted music and getting our videos taken down off of YouTube.
Every day.
Every day. That's how we rule.
Yeah.
That's how we roll. Although YouTube goes, YouTube's like, okay. All right. I was talking. It's okay.
Play the karaoke version if they would catch it.
The what?
Like the karaoke elevator version.
Oh, that's so funny. Do you know what I was thinking the other day? My wife and I, this was last week because she was watching Dancing with the Stars yesterday, of course.
Of course.
But or was it 2 days? Monday. We were watching Dancing with the Stars last Monday. And Nelly, Nelly's on. She's like, wow, she's like.
I actually don't know that Nelly's on it because I don't watch the show. Sorry, Ann.
I didn't say to you, that Nelly's on. I didn't say that.
You did.
Oh, I did?
Mm-hmm.
Are you saying, first of all, I don't watch Dancing with the Stars. My wife does.
We've already had this conversation.
Right. But you're over here saying, I don't watch it, so I wouldn't know. So you're basically saying that my wife has no taste in television shows. That's what you're saying. My point was the song Hot in Her is like 20 years old.
Right.
That's crazy, right? Isn't that great? It feels like it's not that old.
Nick, I just posted that 1980 is 40 years ago.
I saw your post.
Like, how is that possible? I mean, I don't know if you were born then, but like
I was born in 79.
So you like squeaked
I'm 41. I'm 41. Yeah,
okay.
I'm a 70. I'm clearly a 70s baby, okay?
You're like that perfect person. Like, I've lived in the 70s. I've lived in the 80s.
You know what, kids? I've lived through 4 decades. 5 decades. 5 decades. No, you haven't, Dad.
Okay, can I say something real quick?
Sure. I mean, whether or not you ask me, you're gonna. I noticed your book behind you.
Shout out to Brendan Kane. I got my package.
Whoop whoop. Yeah, mine arrived 2 days ago while I was here in New Jersey. So like he sent mine like 3 weeks ago. It literally took like 3 weeks for my that's how screwed up the mail is right now. It literally took almost 3 weeks for my books to get to my house.
You know what came in the mail yesterday?
No.
My new glasses. You know what's crazy? Do you like them?
I do like them.
You know what's funny about my new glasses, Nick?
What? What's funny?
Without even paying attention, I bought the exact same glasses as my almost 83-year-old mother.
Yes, that is unfortunate. That is unfortunate. What does that mean, Caryn?
It just confirms that like I'm definitely turning into her.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I could have told you that.
Okay. All right. So I posted last night about a show, Emily in Paris, on Netflix.
Oh my God. Anne was watching it last night.
I was going to say Anne would actually love the show. Love.
She was watching it last night.
I binge watched the other night every episode, the whole season in one night.
It's god awful.
It's actually not bad. And if you want an escape and you want to live like the life I should have lived, because I have been to Paris and it is amazing and the food is beautiful and the men are awesome. But Emily in Paris is a fun little getaway. And I like it because it's a woman like a young girl taking her own, taking charge of her own life.
Unfortunately, I walked in on the scene where she was on FaceTime with her boyfriend. And that scene basically scarred me because
that doesn't do the show justice.
Unfortunate.
Of course you accidentally walked in on that scene.
No, I mean, I didn't know.
Good morning.
I was like, how can we never do that? No, I'm just kidding.
Nick, guess what else today is?
Well,
What are we doing? We're going to see each other a lot today. What are we doing? We're talking with KW
Oh, we have a
Portugal
lot going on today. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh my gosh. We have a lot going on today.
together. We go together.
Like a shingly ding ba-dong. Together forever, like shoobop shoo. But I played Kaniki in Greece, by the way.
Oh, okay, I can't sing. All right, moving on.
I was like, I got me overhead lifters and 4 barrel quads. Oh yeah.
What are we doing? What are we doing first today?
We're doing this first, and then we're doing. I'm teaching for Caryn's market centers, and then we're doing our sound check for our Mega Camp Portugal session, which we're doing on Friday.
Yes.
So Caryn's going to be like, testing. 1, 2, 3. We're doing a sound check. We're like, guys, it works here.
So yeah, you are teaching to our market centers. Whoop, whoop, 10 o'clock today. So excited.
I'm trying to do a watch party and it's not working.
Where? Well, why do you have to care? Don't pay attention to me. Back to me.
No, because I got it. I figured it out. Here we go.
You got to push play.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. So we're doing a lot of things today together, which is, interesting. We don't.
Okay. When are you interviewing Brendan Kane?
Oh, I'm interviewing Brendan Kane, the author of those 2 books, tomorrow in Lab Coat Agents.
Well, our guest today is also an author, and you don't even know that.
He's a poet, and you didn't even know it. Who is it? What is it?
Talk about it in just a minute. I like to leave people hanging.
Oh, all right. Okay.
So then Friday, what are we talking about with KW Portugal?
Well, Friday we're not. Oh, Friday. Yeah, today we're not recording our session. Oh yeah, we should probably have a session in mind for Friday. I think they just want us to do this. No, I'm kidding.
I was wondering.
We're going to talk about command. They want us to talk about command in some way.
I wanted Josh and Jason to hire us to do like play-by-play color commentary for Mega Camp. Like sit on the screen and just talk all day about like the people that are doing the classes.
Yeah, I want a lot of things that I don't ever get.
Do you think if family reunion is virtual, they would hire us to do that?
Never.
Do you think we could ask like people like email Josh and Jason?
Oh, let's start a petition right now.
Yeah.
Let's get 10 signatures. Who do you think Nick and Caryn should have a Command Your Morning main stage at family reunion? I'm sure they would jump at the chance.
I'm sure they would feel very safe leaving us open mic live.
I'm sure that Gary. I think Gary would be like, yeah, but then everyone else would be like, no. And you don't.
That's actually not true because has Gary or Josh or Jason ever done anything with you live?
Yeah, Gary has.
Live.
Yeah, I did the Brendan Kane interview live for 400.
But the majority of the time they pre-record us. Don't you find that not a coincidence?
Well, they only not pre-record mains. No, actually, they pre-record everything unless it's Gary, Jason, or Josh, or Jay. For Mega Camp, they pre-recorded it. No, but when I did the Brendan Kane
do you think you should call Gary Jerry? So it's Jerry, Jason, Josh, and Jay?
I'm going to call him Jerry.
Okay. Well, our guest.
Hello.
Can I bring your guest on to?
Hold on, wait. We'll be like this. Jerry. Hello, Newman.
I'm going to bring in our guest today because he is a former law enforcement officer.
You didn't let me finish. You asked me a question and then you don't let me answer. I said, "Here's a funny story." This is so funny. This is actually kind of funny.
Theater. Someone said Mystery Science Theater 3000 all over again. 100%.
Oh my gosh! Could you imagine us commentating the panels? We'll be like Kimberly Meserve will be like, does she know? Hi, I'm Kimberly Meserve. I do virtual client events. We'll do that for all of our.
Anybody under 40 is like, what's Mystery Science Theater 3000?
Hold on, wait. So Gary sent me the 1 Million Followers book, and then I contacted Brendan Kane and asked him to do a webinar with Lab Coats, and then I told Gary that I got Brendan Kane to do the webinar. He's like, why don't you ask him to do why don't you interview him for my top 100 masterminds? I was like, cool, I will. And then I said, when do you want? I said to Gary, I'm like, when should we record it? He's like, why don't we do it live? I'm like, okay, we'll do it live. And then And then we went on to do it live. There were like 500 people on the Zoom. And then when we get to that point, Gary goes, hey, okay, so I asked Nick Baldwin to interview Brendan Kane. Can we roll that tape? And I'm like, we're here live, Gary, because you asked us to do it live. And he's like, oh, okay. He's like, shoot. Like, I asked Nick Baldwin. I'm letting Nick Baldwin loose in a live stream.
Right.
So
I think that
it was a 1 hour interview live.
I think that was a panic moment for him. For many,
he was like,
what? Look, oh my gosh. Okay, let's introduce our guest. He's one of my favorite people. Regional director of 845 market centers in Keller Williams.
What? Hold on a second. We only have 1,000.
Former state trooper, author. Will you please, John? Oh, ethics or diversity leader. Thank you. Thank you.
I was wearing that shirt on Monday, buddy.
Well, he probably was still wearing. It's probably under his
matched.
John Clidy.
I'm not wearing it today. I'm wearing a different shirt today. Relax.
This was created by a great agent in my market center. So she
was it really? Well,
yeah.
You own 845 of them, so the chances of that happening are actually pretty good.
John, who are you?
I think I'm an alien. No. Who knows who you are anymore, right? I don't know.
Come in peace.
I'm a state trooper that just landed right here on this show for some odd reason.
I love it. So you're a state trooper who sells homes.
I used to be. I was a retired trooper. I got bored. I after 17 years, I said, you know what? I'm going to leave a pension. I'm going to leave a free car and get out of jail free tickets and all that stuff and just become a realtor. Why not?
Why not?
That, right?
That's so cool. So where were you a state trooper? What state?
I was in New Jersey.
New Jersey?
Yeah.
I'm in New Jersey right now.
Where are you at?
Well, I'm from New Jersey. I'm visiting my parents in Glen Ridge. I grew up in Montclair, but I live in Michigan now. But
Montclair State.
You were wait, what?
I went to Montclair State. Yeah.
I went to Montclair State, and my dad was a professor at Montclair State until like 2 months ago. He just retired.
He does not remember me because
what is that you just posted, Caryn? Was that a link?
This is the link to his book.
Quick, everyone, copy and paste that or remember it.
I'll post it.
I love
John, who are you?
Hold on a second. Caryn, no, stop. We got a Jersey guy here with
me. We're alumni. Come on, Nick.
Yeah. Were you a state trooper in New Jersey?
I was.
Where? Oh, so like just up and down the parkway.
The whole state.
Wait a minute. You look oddly familiar.
Did I pull you over? No. I did everything. I was undercover in Newark, Irvington, Camden. I was in the casinos. I was, believe it or not, I was in internal affairs and they kicked me out. They were like, no, this guy's he's not following the rules. You're out. I was everywhere.
Hey, can I tell you a funny story? So when my father met my wife's uncle, Charlie, for the first time at like some family function. And my dad goes, you look really familiar, because my wife's Uncle Charlie was a Montclair cop. He goes, you look really familiar. And Charlie goes, yeah, I pulled you over. And it was 100% true. He honestly did. And my dad's like, gotta go.
Remember that. You don't remember that stuff. I mean.
No, but he did remember and he's like, he was very, very, he was actually very nice, but very stern. But it actually wasn't true. He did pull my dad over. Every
time I got pulled over, the officer that would pull me over, he'd be like, is there an emergency? I'm like, in a hurry to meet you.
Oh my God.
I like that. I was like a ticket guy too. I was like, whenever I did something, it was like 100%. I was like trooper. I was nominated for Trooper of the Year because I wrote so many tickets on the Atlantic.
Oh, that's how they do it.
Oh, I was like the guy, like, well, sir, like, I was like really. And then all of a sudden, I found this real estate business to make a whole lot of money, and I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome. This is really cool.
And people trust me because I was a cop.
You said you broke all the rules being a state trooper, and then you joined a real estate company that breaks all the rules. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't break all the rules. I just happened to fall in love with passive income.
Yeah, there's actually a pretty successful cop/realtor in the Ridgewood, New Jersey market center, I believe. So I'm wondering how he does it, Because being a cop, you have long shifts, right? You can't really. How do you do that part time? I'm not sure, but
I did $30 million when I was still, a state trooper.
Holy moly! Really?
Yeah. I was the number one Century 21 agent in New Jersey for years for units sold. I was selling like 170-ish, 150 a year, and still minus 40 hours a week.
Okay, one more question, and then Caryn, you can.
Oh, thank you.
Have you ever sold a home to someone you pulled over?
Yes.
I love it. I love it.
You know, it's crazy. I locked some guy up in Atlantic City, and I'll never forget this. And he was kicked, and the state troopers were, if you know, we're all big and bad with the blue and gold. I was big. I was like 250, believe it or not. I couldn't even fit into my stuff. But I was undercover in the casinos, and you put them in the back of your car, and they're like right there, like they could kick you. It's not like we didn't have the cages, so
right.
When we put them in our car, they're in the back seat. And this guy was just unruly. He's kicking my seat, and he had the handcuffs on, and I was like, if this guy keeps it up, I'm going to stop, and I'm going to just mace him out in the back seat. I'm just going to. And so then a call comes in, like a real estate call. And believe it or not, he starts to listen. And then he gets quiet and he's like, you're really good at it. And he starts talking to me about real estate. He's like so mad and upset. And then he heard me talk and he's like, tell me more about this real estate thing. And he was good the whole way to the jail.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
That was like his meditation. You like calmed him to.
Yeah, he was saying the cuff was too tight. And then he's like, this is crazy. And then all of a sudden he's listening to me. Like I was like,
I didn't do it.
Now he's in your downline.
I'm going to spray, and then he got quiet.
He works on my team. It's weird.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So,
he's my team leader of a market center.
So, John, what do you do now? What is your current role with KW?
Oh, I got a million.
Yeah.
Regional director of the Greater PA region. What's that? We got 9,300 agents, 49 market centers.
Wow, that's a big region, dude.
It's a lot.
It's
a huge region.
We're a big region. We got incredible agents, incredible leaders. OP of 1, investor of 6. Still doing the agent thing. I got a great team that doesn't need me anymore. I actually kind of relocated to Southern Florida, so I kind of do both and back and forth. Yeah, I did the old COVID, like, you only live once thing. My wife was like, we got to go south, and I don't like cold. So God bless you.
Thank you. Not COVID.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And I also
Is that like every time you sneeze now or cough, you have to go, achoo, not COVID.
Yeah, my kids always say when someone sneezes, like COVID, right?
Uh-huh. And now, so you're married, and how many kids do you have?
I have 4 little monsters.
Yes.
Well, some big monsters now. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about you, like, I don't know, in 49 market centers and then running a team, and you're like, I think I'm going to write a book.
Well, I wrote the book really because since 1921, the state police was founded. No one had supposedly ever left that job 3 years shy of a pension unless they were, killed or something happened. It was not something that happens every day. And so many people were like, oh my God, like, that's awesome. And you inspire me. And, since then it was like the 4-minute mile, like everyone's leaving, like, 10 years, 12 years, people are leaving because, that government check, that pension really kind of makes you think like, should I just hang in there? Even though I'm not happy, should I hang in there? And I was flying back and forth to Austin for, the regional directors meetings. And you're sitting on the plane, and I like TV, but not that much, and I like to read, and I was like, you know what? Why don't I start kind of just jotting down some notes? So I just started writing a little bit of kind of how I started. My dad, was not the 8th grade dropout, and went to that was it, and with not a lot of money, kind of not a lot of education. I don't think anyone ever graduated college in my family, all that stuff. And I just started writing about it and, kind of got inspired. And, then I had a bunch of mess. I had all these notes of mess, just a lot of mess, a bunch of pages of, just information. So someone said, why don't you hire like a book coach and they'll help you get like an outline. So I hired someone and we just kind of talked and we just started organizing chapters, and then we got it, in chronological order, which was, believe it or not, a lot harder than you think.
Yeah.
Because I did so many things. I was like an agent, and I was like a leader, and I became, I was a mega. Then I heard Mark King, so I kind of did the same thing. I was like a mega that got an OP opportunity and took my team of 6 to 300 agents, and then they're like, oh, why don't you do some regional stuff? And then that's kind of what made me leave the state police when I said there's more opportunities out there.
So what has surprised you the most about now? How long ago did you get into real estate full time?
Well, dual career, right? We never say, but I was an agent. I would say I started selling over 50 homes in 2000. I've been since 1999. So 2001 or 2, I think I was selling over 50. And then I think the next year I went to like 75. And then I've sold over 125 homes since then, my team. So, but I left the state police May 1st, 2014. And I became the area director of the Greater PA region May 1st, 2014. I kind of worked the same day.
And still going. And now you are a leader in our diversity task force, right? Our national.
Yeah, Gary named me and Kimber to lead that, and man, has that been an incredible experience.
So as a leader in our company, what's that been like? I mean, since the George Floyd murder came to light and it all came out, and since then, so what did you like? How did that come together and happen so quickly? Because it really was extraordinary what you've accomplished.
I remember I was talking about this, when it happened, Gary called, probably a few folks that he knew, minority leaders that he knew. And, I think Kimber and Bo and I were, probably the highest level leaders at the time, being regional directors. And it was like one of those things. It was like 10 o'clock at night. And, I'm sitting in bed with my wife and I'm like, Gary Keller's calling. And she's like, answer it, and I've talked to him before, but like not at 10 o'clock at night, So I answered it, and it was such a great conversation. I mean, really, it was he was just listening and asking me how I felt, and he told me he was ignorant to it, like all the accomplishments he had in his life. That was the one thing that he really didn't realize, until he really went internal on it, and that's when you really know you're with the right company, and it was so sincere. I mean, I've done negotiations. I've done all kinds of things, even as a state trooper, interviewed, murderers and all that stuff. And, I can see when people are sincere, and it was just so honest and open. And from that, it led us to create a task force, just how this company's built, right? Like we're the best training, consulting, we do it all. Why would we go hire outside? So we decided to take, a few of us and lead a task force and go out and find the best and brightest in our company. And that national task force is made up of just some, like, you listen to them, you're like, oh my God, where were you all this time? Like, where have you been? Where have you been?
That's part of the problem, right? That we're trying to.
I mean, I think we've hired since then. There's 6 folks that are on the task force that are now either OPs or team leaders or pro coaches, like, and I think our investigation, there might be 40 Black leaders ish, maybe a little more across the country. And we hired like 8 in like 3 months, which is amazing, Awesome. But yeah, I mean, and we got so much more work to do. I mean, obviously the Y4C2 T's changed, and now it's a standing committee. And we're working on a social equity fund, a 501c3, kind of like KW Cares and Kids Can and all that stuff. So it's exciting. And that's the stuff that probably makes me so proud. Like, that's legacy stuff, when you can leave a company better than it was when you got there.
Yeah, it is. It just gave me the chills a little bit. And I think that what you said earlier is Gary was humble enough to say, oh my gosh, I don't even know, because I've had a lot to learn too myself. And I want to keep learning to be better, because as long as people are open to understanding that maybe you don't know, and maybe it's time to wake up and look up and see what else is going on, and it's not circling around you. So I'm excited for the opportunity for people to be better and kinder. And I'm really grateful that we're able to have conversations that a year ago would have not happened. So that have needed to happen.
Hey, the incredible person, Tony Sadiq Lexon, that created this shirt. When we did this, we did like 2 weeks in, our market center did a town hall. And I never forget what she said. It was so clear. And she said, listen, everybody, this is going to be uncomfortable. You're going to have uncomfortable conversations. But she said, at the end of the day, we're going to make change one relationship at a time. And I truly mean, I really sincerely think that's the truth. I mean, it's going to happen in your communities, in your market centers, and then it can happen in your region, and then it can happen nationally, right? Because it's not going to be like, all right, we're good. KWRIs, we're good. We got it. Every single member. No, that's not the case. So,
people that don't understand what's going on with protests and riots is, when people don't get heard for long enough, finally they act out, right? Kids do it all the time. When they don't feel heard, they act out. It's a human nature to say, like, I'm screaming inside, and that's why I'm acting out, because it's time to be heard. So if that's what it took for us, like for me as a white woman, to wake up and understand what else is going on, then that's what it takes. And so it's exciting to move forward together.
Oh yeah, no,
I love that analogy, right? Like, I have an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old. And when my 5-year-old is talking to me and I'm not listening, right? Like, first he starts off really quiet, then he gets a little louder and a little louder, and then he's screaming. Then if I don't respond at that point, then he starts to like throw his toys, right? It's the same thing. And so, you get to a point where, listen, if you feel like no one's listening to you, then you're going to do something drastic because there's no other choice. And I'm not saying that, no one's saying that, yes, go and like loot businesses. Nobody's saying to do that, but like, you gotta pay attention. And white people, me, born and raised in Montclair, New Jersey, which is, by the way, very culturally diverse, right? But, I've never known what it feels like to drive through a town as a white person in a car and be afraid of a cop pulling me over. I've never had that fear. And if they do pull me over, I've never been worried that I'm going to be like asked to step out of my car and do all these things. I've never had that fear. And so like, what I'm seeing a lot of is people who don't understand it saying things that they can't ever speak to. They can't ever speak to that, right?
Well, Nick, my dad always says the squeaky wheel gets the oil, right? Which is true. And I will tell you, and you know this because you're in North Jersey. You know where Pompton Lakes is?
Yeah.
Right. I was played college football, and because I lived a couple hours away south in South Jersey, I stayed on the campus. It was like 3,000 people to stay on the campus, not a lot. Big commuter school. And one of my good friends in college, my bunk mate in my dorm, played football too, and he lived in Pompton Lakes, and his dad was a Patterson police officer. So, I'm driving my hoopty from Montclair to Pompton Lakes, which is predominantly white, area. And I was lost, and it was a little bit late. And I kept driving around that neighborhood trying to find the house. And we didn't have cell phones. This was 1990, I think it was. And I got pulled over. And the officer, it felt like, all the lights and guns and everything out. I'm like, what the heck? And I'm like, sir, and I was always polite,
Yeah.
And I was like, everything okay? He was like, no, everything's not okay. What are you doing here? I'm like, I'm going to my friend's house. And he was like, in this neighborhood? I said, yeah. And after a while, I actually got to the point where he was about to take me out of the car. And I said, I'm going to see Rob Eakes because I know his dad was a Patterson police officer.
Oh.
And then he was like, oh. And then he changed, and then he was like, I'll drive you there. But until
and then you got an escort.
Then I got an escort, but until that, it was so heightened. You could tell the stress, and I didn't realize it too. I was still ignorant to that, back in that I didn't really realize that because I was mixed. My dad was black, my mom was white. So our household was a little bit unique I never really seen my white side of the family until later because of the race. So I was predominantly like around the black side, but I never seen that type of thing happen until that day. And then I've seen some stuff as a realtor and things like that. But that feeling stinks, to be totally honest, that, that the guys, really pulled me over because of the color of my skin. That didn't feel good.
Yeah, especially when you basically got confirmation that was the reason.
Oh, he told me, he was just like, you shouldn't be here. Why are you in this
right? Like what I'm saying is like, he goes, what are you doing in this neighborhood? Right? Like that's basically saying this is a white neighborhood and you're a black kid. I mean, you got validation. Like, you can specifically say that like you were pulled over and the cops said to you, I'm pulling you over because you're black and white people live here. Like that's exactly what he said to you. And so when people say there's no such thing as racism, there's more stories like yours, millions of stories like yours, John. It infuriates me when people say that.
Some of my leaders on our task force taught me something, and this is what they said. When you get a mosquito bite and it's annoying, right? And then you get another one, and that's really annoying. And then you get 3, and then you get 4, and you get 5, and you get 10, and you get 100. And eventually you just want to go crazy because you have 1,000 mosquito bites on you. So like that one experience of John then could have another small, what seems insignificant or a few moment experience. And over again, it's little mosquito bites. And eventually you just go crazy. Right.
Yeah. I also want to say, sorry, go ahead, John.
I told a story on one of the national calls. The other thing too is, I don't care who you are, even if you're black, you have to, we can do better, right? You can do better to have that conversation. You could do better to listen to both sides, because at the end of the day, now it's what we do now with it. And I think it goes both ways. I really do. And I think if we're going to win this together, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to have those conversations. And that's what having these platforms gets people. Maybe later after this call, maybe they go and have maybe they have a conversation that they never had. Right.
Well, there's no wrong question either for someone who's willing to listen and help you.
No,
exactly.
Especially if they're willing to listen and if someone is willing to listen and they're asking a question strictly from curiosity, that question might not come out the way that you want to hear it. It might come out a little selfish, but that's an opportunity to teach them. It's when the people are like, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. That's the annoying part. That's the frustrating.
Well, since you guys I think it's a real estate show, but
it's a little bit of both, John.
Well, you guys, honestly, before I listened to you both, and I was like, you can both be announcers on American Ninja Warrior.
Oh my gosh!
When they do,
Gary won't have us.
Yeah, like you start screaming and acting wild. I could see you two doing that, and I could be your co-pilot. I think I could do good at that too.
John, could you be like on the sideline, like you're the action interviewing the people?
Yeah, you ever see those guys who go nuts?
Could you be like wearing a microphone and jumping next to the people as they're going through the course?
I would love
so
it.
Good. My kid watches that Beastmaster show on Netflix too.
I never heard of that.
Love it.
Yeah, I think this is called the Beastmaster show.
That one is like American Ninja Warrior, but that one's like American Ninja Warrior, but it's Sylvester Stallone is the executive producer, and it's like it's like multiple countries. It's not just America. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, now you're in South Florida, right?
Yep.
Where is your Miami Vice jacket? Why are you wearing a Pennsylvania jacket?
I am. I know. We have, my daughter has high risk, so we're still kind of hibernating here. She has SVT and a little bit of big heart condition. That we don't want to obviously put any complications. So we've been somewhat locked down. We're trying to, for mental health reasons for them, they're driving us nuts. So we're trying to do little outside things that kind of, because they don't have friends, and they're like they're on this thing too much. So we're trying to do some being a little creative, but I don't have a lot of good South Florida stuff yet. I can do better.
I was thinking, we were gonna get like a Don Johnson type. You know what I mean? With the white blazer and the aviators.
I got some good goggles. I got some good ones.
Okay, so what does 2021 look like for you, your region, your book, your task force, your other task force, like your 83 businesses? Like, what's next for you?
Yeah.
I always been passionate about, I mean, leadership is like, the 5 Levels of Leadership by John Maxwell. That's just like one of my favorite books. And I always love leadership. So, the more people I can lead, probably it makes me feel the best. And I love creating leaders inside of that, whatever it is, if it's the region, there's some incredible, like Michelle McBride's probably one of the most incredible leaders out there, to be able to have people like that inside my team and my sales team and all the businesses that my market centers have incredible leaders. So, obviously being a regional OP, leading more people, owning more market centers, buying more buildings. I think, all that stuff feels good. And especially if I could start to buy buildings that we can create more Black ownership and do more mentorships. Because I think, I told a story in a book that I was one of the only agents that in Camden, New Jersey, which was at one time the most, and I don't know, Nick, if you know this, but it was named for years the most dangerous city in the country. And it's like 9 square miles. I mean,
yeah,
it was so crazy where agents just gave me leads there. I had like 150 listings at a time just in Camden, and they didn't even want referrals. Because, no one wanted to go there.
What? They didn't want referrals. They probably thought they probably thought there wasn't going to be a referral, and you sold them all.
Yeah, and then don't forget the market started to go up in the the 2003, 4, 5, 6. So I had all these listings, and then the silly thing is those investors actually have primary homes. If you
Right.
do, now you got primary home sales. So I was one of those guys that went there, and I made a lot of money. I invested there. I flipped homes there, and I don't know if I did a good job of investing back there. So that's the stuff that I got to do better. Is you're making this money, you got to invest back in the communities. You got to be a better mentor. I got to be a better human being outside of my world, like in the community and things. So I think 2021 will be me being a better person, a whole person, as opposed to just in my organization. I got to help other people that maybe can't help themselves. That's something.
That's like Bo and Kimber Manketti, their organization. Yeah. They are so good about investing back in community and Black-owned businesses, and it's really, really cool. So I love that. I love your humility. Like, you're such a good guy. You're one of the good ones. So that makes me happy. Okay. Anything? So your morning routine. What time do you wake up? Because I imagine being in the police force or something that you're probably disciplined. Like, you're fit. You probably like work out and stuff, I imagine, right?
Yeah, I was a CrossFitter. I did all this stuff, and I will tell you, COVID's been bad to me. I used to get up at 4:45, and I had this great regimen. Read in 30 minutes every morning. I'm like 5:45 now.
An hour.
And now, and I'm doing like the push-ups, and I'm doing the bikes, and I'm doing the Peloton, and I am doing my reading now. And I am starting to write a little bit too. And I have so many of those police stories, right? People love those cop stories, and I tell a lot of them in the book. But I'm starting to think about some of the stories now that have evolved, since being a regional leader, since doing all the things I've done since the book, which has been pretty cool. Some of the stories are pretty cool. So, and then I'll throw a little police stuff in there. Now that I'm so far gone, I could tell some of the stories that I might have not told in the first book.
Do you watch police shows?
No.
Did you watch Hill Street Blues as a kid?
A little bit.
Charlie's Angels.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Charlie's Angels is very realistic, right, John?
Hawaii Five-O, but the old school one,
Who's your favorite angel?
Well, my wife's Italian. I like the dark hair. What's her name?
Catherine Smith.
Yeah. I'm more.
Hey, my wife's Italian. Oh my gosh, we got even more in common.
Oh my God, you're both from New Jersey, married to Italian women.
My wife's Italian. Hey, bada bing, bada boom.
Oh my God. All right. Hey. John, any last words to give to our 12 viewers today?
We had more than 12, Caryn. Oh my gosh.
Well, you know what? Since we're on this book kick, I would say, you got to be happy in life, right? No matter what. And, if you think about life, and the one thing book talks about the bouncing balls, right? You got the the rubber ball and the glass balls, right? And the glass is your marriage and your family. If you're not happy, it'll probably affect every aspect of your life. And that goes, listen, you could be a realtor that just don't want to be a realtor, right? I mean, that's, that, or you could be a police officer that just is not passionate about it, which you could probably kill yourself or kill somebody because you're in that position and you're not really focused, right? So I think, the main thing for me now is just to be happy. And I know it seems so simple, but, if you wake up every day, stick to your stomach, because so many people have told me they wake up even to go to a market center because of a relationship between like an MCA or a team leader. And they see the car in the parking lot and they get sick to their stomach to walk in the door. I mean, I heard so many of them. That's kind of how I felt when I was a trooper driving to Trenton, an hour and a half every day. For 7 years, I've kind of felt that. And I'm like sick to my stomach in the car. That's a lot of time of being unhappy. And then you got to go home and play the game with your 4 kids and your wife and your businesses. So I think being happy is as simple, but I think you gotta figure out what happiness is for you, and for everyone it's different. Maybe it's just the date night. Maybe it's spending time throwing a football with your kid. Maybe it's reading a book half an hour a day. Whatever that is, you got to figure it out because life's too short.
Oh my gosh, dude! I just completely related to that. Like, can I just add a little? I know Caryn hates when I talk, but I just want to add a little something. I know Caryn, it makes me happy that Caryn doesn't like when I talk. No, I'm kidding. I want to say that I related to that because before you had your book, Leaving Six Figures, by the way, which I love the title of that book. You talk about how, you were 3 years away from a pension, right? And you left, you weren't happy. I'm assuming. For me, I got offered a team leader position in Michigan. I was living in New Jersey. I had a successful team. I think I made like 400,000 GCI in the year before I became team leader. I got offered the job as a team leader in my wife's hometown. The pay was $66,000 a year, and that's like a 75%. That's like more than a 75%. That's about 75% decrease in pay, right? If I'm doing the math right. But I was much happier for about 18 months. Then I got sick of the TL position, became regional tech trainer. Still not making 400,000, right? But I'm on my way back up there, right? Like I'm probably 3/4 of the way back up to where I was selling homes. But I'm so much more happy and grateful every day when I wake up.
I think it's because of me.
And the things that I dread the most are Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 8:30 when I have to get on the show with Caryn. Just kidding. But it's like money. Everybody puts so much emphasis on money. I was making almost $500,000 a year, and I was miserable. And then I was making $60,000 a year, and I was happy. Right? It was, and I had even more responsibility as a team leader. The most responsibility I've ever had in my life, making a fraction of the amount I was making as a real estate agent.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out.
It's not like you do like work.
I'm going to give a shout out to my second favorite regional director, Press McKissick, for talking about how team leaders, how hard their job is. And nobody understands unless you're a team leader, how hard the job, like no idea. I talked to Jennifer Lewis in Austin last week and I'm like, how's team leadering? She's like, it's so hard.
Yeah. And when you think
my God, it's so hard.
If I stayed 3 more years, I would have made probably, let's just say, I don't know, let's say $70,000 a year for life, right? In 8 years with Keller Williams, my profit share last month was $10,000. I'll probably do very similar. So, I'm going, who knows what it ends up being. But I mean,
right.
I amassed that like so quickly and sky's the limit. So, I mean, you're staying for things that, if you're passionate about or purposeful about whatever you do in life, eventually, like you said, Nick, it'll work itself out, right? If you're purposeful and you're passionate about it.
And you don't leave. And so when people are like, well, how much do you pay or how much is it? I'm like, I don't ever worry about the money. The money comes when you do the right thing. You do it with authentic reason behind it too. It comes. It never is about the money ever. So
I'm at a point where I'm like creating my own empire at this point,
Maybe like
where
$10,000
you know,
to take a class today or something. All right.
yeah, like I got, yeah, like my profit share was $8,000.
Okay, Nick, this isn't about you. It's about John.
I'm just saying, it's not about me, but I'm talking.
Caryn, me and Nick
Caryn.
we're connecting. Me and Nick. That's why.
Caryn, you're being a Caryn right now, Caryn. What I'm saying is that there's other things to focus on in this company that can help you create that passive income, which will get me back up to where I was and beyond that. And so I'm talking about how being happy allows you to focus more on that. When I was miserable, I couldn't focus on it.
All right. I just want to say one last thing too before we take off for the day. I'm looking for a new co-host for the morning show for Monday.
Oh, really? The show that I created? Oh, the show that I created? Oh, the show that I created.
I'll see you Friday.
This guy.
The show that I created.
John, I'll see you on Friday as my new
Look what you're doing. Look what you're doing. You're ruining this. Let's give John the proper sign off. John, hold up your book, buddy. Hold up your book. Leaving Six Figures. It's on Amazon.
What is that picture of? Let's see how good you are in New Jersey.
What?
What is that a picture of that triangle?
Oh, is that my first day?
That's the state trooper triangle. I had to black it out so you couldn't see it. I don't get.
Oh, I'm gonna buy the book today. buddy.
You're awesome.